Hello, my name is Evgeny Rasa and I'm certified open yoga teacher. Good to see you all here, and we start the course about the different kinds of yoga. As you might know, then yoga is very logical, very systematic, very kind, very ancient teaching about the self-exploration and exploring of the universe. It is very big, very interesting teaching, and it's one. There is single yoga, but it has many different styles and many different directions that are very interesting to explore, to understand and to use your full potential that you really have, but probably don't really guess about it. And if we look back in the history that we like the science, then we really don't know who invented yoga and when it happened. All that we know is that it happened several thousands of years ago, and that it was brought somewhere from the north. In different texts it says somewhere in the north, but don't really say if it's in the north of Europe, north of Himalaya, or India, or United States, or it's in North Pole. Thereby, all we have is this notion that somewhere in the north. And there were some very difficult, severe conditions for the people among whom this teaching was distributed or spread. The people said that there are coming some difficult conditions and that they need to move. Thereby there was this very ancient movement of this teaching, and some people were ready to move, some not. More about the history of yoga and about different historical moments you will find in our course about the Vedas. But in this teaching, in this course, we need to kind of understand that people moved, and there were a lot of serious conditions, severe conditions that they had to go through, and thereby a lot of advanced methods of yoga were lost just due to these severe conditions. And still this kind of facilitated to the development or to understanding or usage of the classical methods of yoga. Thereby all this teaching includes all the aspects of the people, and there are as many kinds of yoga as there are the ways you can express yourself. If we talk about the classical methods, then it's Hatha yoga that almost everybody knows and have probably practiced. Those are static exercises. Then there's Kriya yoga, that we can do the movements in a certain rhythm. Then there is breathing exercises, pranayama yoga. There is yoga of sound or mantra yoga. And also among the classical methods we are talking about the meditation. It is each of them are dealing with the different aspects of the person, but through each of them we can reach the goals that we are striving for. Later on we would discuss the kinds of yoga like yoga of sleep, yoga of the management, yoga of visual objects, and many more. Thereby this course is devoted so that you can find as much information about different kinds of yoga for you. You can find your way of yoga. However, without the classical kinds of yoga, there are not many possibilities for people. So there are the basic or classical kinds of yoga, the ones 5 I mentioned, and then there are the advanced. And in order to proceed with more advanced, you have to be good at the basic ones. What else we know from the history? That in the very beginning this teaching was given verbally. That's what I'm doing now. I'm telling you this. And of course we have a lot of written forms that happen later. Um, and we have also the written materials. Now they have in electronic form, but doesn't change the meaning. When the people started moving, it became more difficult to transfer the knowledge. It was more difficult because the language started to change. Initially, this was the language of the Sanskrit or the Vedic Sanskrit, that is more ancient, and thereby, of course, some difficulties arise. And today we have only the small crumbs of this teaching. We have more information about the physical kinds of yoga and less information about and understanding about the more advanced or rare kinds of yoga that require some more theory. It's good for the classical methods that they are practical, and if you practice them even without understanding it, but have this inner notion or feeling, you can quite fast proceed with the theoretical material and kind of understanding it. And if you are practicing it together with your kind of other yogis who share your passion for yoga, then also this rediscovering process happens much faster. And whatever was discovered before can be discovered again. So we have a lot of work to do together. Also, one more important thing for yoga, like for anything else, as the yoga is the practical life, we have to do everything by ourselves. Of course, it's good to have some pointers like the first principle of yoga, second principle of yoga. It makes our life easier, it saves our time. But if you want work in understanding these principles and practicing yoga regularly, that's the kind of indicator of your success, regular practice, then nobody can do it for you. Not even the greatest teachers ever will do that. So you work, you get the result, you analyze and go and proceed. Yes, the yoga is like the science. It's very accurate, and if it worked once, then it's supposed to work again. Thereby you work and you start with the classical methods, you see how it's working, and then you can use more advanced methods. And it's very useful in your everyday life. Our life is not that easy. We are kind of it can get tricky, and sometimes we are simply missing some movements for the body just to solve the kind of basic problems for the body and feel better. Sometimes there are some other things that are interfering our life, but yoga already is kind of giving us, showing the way where we could go and work with it. So, however, if we would want to explain the root of the yoga or about the essential questions that people are asking for themselves, who I am and what I'm doing here, then there are no words and expressions or concepts to kind of express it. Only you yourself, when you work with yourself, are able to understand it. Thereby, a lot of work to do. And yes, the yoga is above the words and ideas. So, but there are ways you can get closer to it, and you work with yourself, you use different kinds of yoga, and it doesn't matter which kind of yoga you use, you succeed and you proceed and you rediscover it. So there are a lot of similar teachings, but you have to understand the basic two yoga principles, and there's also the third principle of yoga, just to be able to differentiate. It's good that they are similar, but they have these differences. And if you are for yoga and if you see how it works, then stick to these two principles, and you will be able to differentiate how this teaching differs from the other teachings. Thereby, my best wishes to you in your practice and development in theory. Rediscover it, start with the basic ones, and we will meet next time for more discussion on Hatha Yoga.